The Eights has already figured out what Dallas is doing on night one in Pittsburgh, going defense from the SEC twice. Corner Jermod McCoy, ACL issues be darned. And edge rusher R. Mason Thomas from Oklahoma. It's been a while since Dallas went defense twice in round one, 2005, but it went great. Hall of Famer DeMarcus Ware and our own Swagoo. Here's year two Cowboys head coach Brian Schottenheimer on Dallas's draft needs.
I think we did a really good job setting ourselves up to be able to draft natural and draft pure, which is what you want to do. You don't want to have to be forced to reach for a player. That's when you make mistakes.
Tim Hasselbeck, are you buying what Brian Schottenheimer's selling there?
I think it's true on the defensive side of the ball. I'm not totally positive that's right on the offensive side. Look, if there's a receiver there, I don't think they're taking him. But I do think it's true on the defensive side because, they could address all three levels of their defense. You go back, it's funny seeing that graphic on 2005. Look, if they went, edge rusher, interior defensive lineman, wouldn't it be terrible? If they went edge rusher, linebacker, edge rusher, secondary player, wouldn't be terrible. So I think I see all of that and think there is some truth to what Brian Schottenheimer is saying.
Yeah, I agree. I think it really comes down to the fact that they have so many needs. Like Tim said, you could draft at multiple positions on defense, and I wouldn't quibble with it. I don't think it's worth it for them to go up and get a player. I think the top three edges will likely be gone by then, but I will say this. Sonny Styles, to me, is the dream fit, both in terms of the best player of the position, the glaring need for Dallas. And if I'm them, I am praying that he gets out of the top 10 and falls to them at 12. Now, I don't know if that's going to happen. It seems unlikely after the Combine, but that, to me, would be the optimal outcome for Dallas.
Well, Brian Schottenheimer may have talked about not needing to reach with any of those early picks. That part's not earth-shattering, but, Tim, something you alluded to, Schottenheimer did address and made some waves when he said he wouldn't rule out any position when Dallas is on the clock.
You want to be prepared to do what we need to do on defense, but certainly we're not going to pass on a great offensive player if they're there at one of those spots.
That's 12 overall, Bill Barnwell. Reflexively, it seems a little crazy Dallas would go offense that early. Is it?
Well, it's good that we've narrowed it down. The Cowboys are taking a defensive player or an offensive player. Brandon Aubrey's job is safe in Big D for another year. I do believe offense is in play here just because of the Cowboys' history. We give Jerry Jones some flack, I would say, for maybe getting distracted by shiny things. But look at their draft history. They lean into drafting offensive linemen in the first round. They have taken 3 of them in recent years. We're now starting up front for them. All the great Cowboys teams in the past 30 years have had great offensive lines. And I do look at right tackle where, you have Terrence Steele in the final year of his deal, most likely. He did sign an extension, but it's really a 1-year contract. Would the Cowboys consider an offensive tackle at 12? I do think that's a possibility if, as Mina said, maybe a Sonny Styles is not there. Maybe there's not a great defensive player for them. Could still go defense at 20, but maybe get a tackle at 12.
All right, I'm going to say something that is going to sound insane, and it's not going to happen. But this is my favorite Jeremiah Love destination. And I think he's going to be gone by then, by all accounts. But the funny thing about running backs, guys, is, and this is so weird with this position, the way I feel is they're actually more valuable if you have a good offensive line and a good receiver core, because dropping it back like Jeremiah Love into this offense would be like what happened when Saquon Barkley ended up in Philadelphia, in my estimation. Whereas if you put him behind, the Titans offensive line, for example, I don't think he would be as productive and I don't think he would be as valuable. But this was already a top 5 offense, and I think if they had Love, it would just go nuclear. They have Javonte Williams, who's making like $8 million. So I don't think it's going to happen, but I do want to say, I would like to see it. It would be my favorite outcome.
I don't think it's going to happen either. I think a lot of it is the money, spent at the position and the fact that, that doesn't seem to make a ton of sense. I will say this, if for some reason you've got him rated incredibly high and for whatever reason he does not go, look, it was Brian Schottenheimer's dad, Marty, who had coached LaDainian Tomlinson, in San Diego. His rookie year, he had over 390 touches. And so, as I mentioned earlier, the amount of impact a running back in their rookie season can have on an offense and on their team. That is the value if they are an elite player. And so I don't think it's going to happen, but I agree it would be kind of funny.
Well, since buying the team, Jerry Jones has drafted 4 running backs in the first round. Half of them, absolute home runs. Ezekiel Elliott was a first-team All-Pro, and up here. Staying in Denver, in case you missed it, the Broncos traded for Jalen Waddle earlier this month, a move that has current running back J.K. Dobbins excited for what's next with that offense.
Then we got another guy that just came in Jalen Waddle.
Yeah, not bad.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, they're poison because we got Cortland Sutton, we got the young Pat Bryant, we got a great O-line, we got everything, right? We got an embarrassment of riches on this team of talent.
Bill Barnwell added needed depth out wide in Denver, new OC. So do the Broncos take another step forward?
They could, but I think Bo Nix has to take a step forward with them, because the one thing that can stop playmakers from getting the ball if the ball is not accurate, and that has been the Bo Nix weakness so far as a pro. He's great at extending plays, creating out of structure, but that becomes a weakness when he doesn't deliver on-target passes. He was the 4th worst quarterback in the league last year in terms of throwing on target. And so when he is working out of structure, when he's moving on the pocket, his feet don't get set, that has to be more consistent to get the ball to all those exciting receivers that Denver suddenly has in that receiving room.
Yeah, you see 4th worst amongst qualified QBs on those passes of 10-plus air yards. Also, worst completion percentage outside the pocket last season than he had as a rookie. Maybe the best receiver in the game on a given Sunday, Jackson Smith and Jigba signed the richest receiver deal ever this week. He addressed that on Wednesday.
It's an honor to feel that confidence come from your teammates and come from, the 3rd floor and your head coach. And, for us to get this deal done, speaks volumes. Definitely just a little weight off my shoulders, and just to go out there and, let it fly.
Mina Kimes with JSN locked up. Where should Seattle look in the draft?
So they have bigger needs than receiver. Guard, running back, offensively loom large. But I do think they should look to add to the position at some point, because right now you have the highest paid receiver, deservedly in football, JSN. You have what I would describe as a upper middle class receiver, Rashid Shaheed, who they brought back. They're going to need to have value at that position, and the way you find value is you continue to throw darts in the draft. I would look for them to add one maybe in the middle rounds.
Well, the Chiefs could use some help out wide. Headlines this week. They released the first video of Patrick Mahomes throwing since tearing his ACL back in December. Tim, what'd you make of what you're seeing out of Mahomes at practice?
It's just a reminder of, how much work goes into guys coming back from serious injury. We kind of, I think, take it for granted with how quickly guys bounce back. ACL November, and next thing you know, they're there for week 1. You can just see the journey. It's never, a straight path, getting better every day. There are setbacks, all of that. And so just an appreciation for a guy that we expect to play at an extremely high level when he returns, that the road back is often long and hard, and, definitely faces your challenges along the way.
And Mahomes says the goal is to be back without limitations in week 1. Bill Barnwell, whenever we see Mahomes back from ACL, LCL tears in December, he has a new running back, Kenneth Walker III, Super Bowl MVP. How will that addition impact this offense?
I'm excited. This is going to be an evolution for the Kansas City Chiefs when it comes to their run game because of what Kenneth Walker did and did not do in Seattle. He was much better running the football from under center than he was running from the shotgun. Lowest success rate in football amongst regular backs over the last 4 years when he was running from the gun. Now, the Chiefs have been a heavy gun run game, a lot of zone runs from the shotgun. They run a lot of RPOs with Patrick Mahomes. Have to admit, that's kind of a little passé at this point in the NFL. A lot of teams getting under center more often. They want to run more gap runs. Play action from under center has been really efficient. And Kenneth Walker, that fits what he wants to do. They have the interior offensive linemen to do that at a high level. So very intrigued to see if the Kenneth Walker signing means we see more under center for the Chiefs early in the season, and how Andy Reid misses up that, the Walker under center run stuff with the Patrick Mahomes